In this video, we will discover what the mark of the beast is. Based on the Bible, we saw that in the book of Daniel, that there would be successive kingdoms that would rule the world till the coming of Christ, beginning at Babylon and ending with Rome. With Rome being the last kingdom to rule the world just before the coming of Christ, we'll have two phases: the pagan phase and then the papal phase. The book of Revelation reads as follows, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that had understanding count the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man, and his number is 666. From this reading, there are words that we should pay great attention to, and these are as follows. The word mark, which we would have discovered in our previous videos, also translate into a sign or standard. The word beast and number of a man, and the number of that man or the identifying number of that man was given, which is 666. So what is a beast in prophecy? In the book of Daniel, this is explained. These great beasts, which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse or different from all kingdoms. Hence, in Bible prophecy, a beast can represent a nation or kingdom. It can also represent a king, or to be more precise, a nation with its king, ruler, or monarch. Therefore, the book of Revelation is saying to us that to identify this beast or this kingdom's king, we must count the number of this man, and his number is 666, or as the Bible states, 666. But if we are to identify this nation's or kingdom's king, we must first identify what nation is it. The book of Revelation chapter 13 verses 1 and 2 gives the identity of this kingdom, and it reads, "And I saw a beast or a kingdom rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and seat and great authority." If we were to reference Revelation 17 with the book of Daniel, this explanation points to no other kingdom than the papacy. For greater details, a link will be left in the description on this. And this kingdom's leader, king, or monarch is none other than the Pope. Now, if this is true, then the Pope, or the title of the Pope, should be identified by the number 666. But does the name or title Pope correspond with 666? No, it does not. But anyone in the position of the Pope has another title, which is Vicar Filii Dei, which is the official title of the Pope. which means representative of the Son of God. And when we count the word vicarious filii dei, it adds up to 666. So based on the Bible, 666 is not the coronavirus, nor is it a vaccine, nor is it a microchip. We just read that it was a mark of a man who was a king, leader, or monarch of a beast or a kingdom. So we would have identified the man and his kingdom. But what is his mark? In our first video, we identified that pagan Rome, its mark, sign, or standard was the golden eagle. But with papal Rome, its mark, sign, or standard is very peculiar. The book of Revelation reads as follows: "And I saw one of his heads, speaking of the papacy, as it were wounded to death, and this deadly wound it received in 1798 from General Berthier under the command of Napoleon. For greater detail on the deadly wound and the healing of the deadly wound, I would leave a video in the link below." And it continues, "And all the world wondered after this beast, or this kingdom, and they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto this beast, or this kingdom, and they worshipped the beast, or this kingdom, saying, Who is like unto this beast? Who is able to make war with him?" So at some point in Earth's history, the entire world will worship the papacy. The question should be asked, how does he accomplish this? As we continue reading, we will understand. It continues, "And I beheld another beast, or another kingdom, coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. This kingdom is none other than America." For greater details on this study, I will also leave a link in the description. "And he exercised all power of the first beast, which is the papacy, and caused the earth and them that which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed." In verse 12, we are given greater details on how the world will worship the papacy. And we see that this beast, this lamb-like beast, which is America, would force the world to worship him. Therefore, verse 4 says, "Who is able to make war with him?" This is in reference to America's military prowess. And again, verse 16 and 17 gives even greater detail on why or how the world will worship the beast. It says, "And he causeth both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." So here we see all those who refuse the mark, sign, or standard of the beast, which is the papacy, will face some sort of economic sanctions, which in like manner we are seeing happening with China with their social credit system. Again, the book of Daniel speaks of the papacy, and it reads, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and he shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws." But when this is done, the Bible says, "But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion," or his kingdom, "to consume and to destroy it. unto the end. This judgment speaks to the second coming of Christ. You may be asking, what does time and laws have to do with the papacy's mark, sign, or standard? We just read in the book of Daniel that the papacy, he speaks great words against the Most High. He changes times and law. And thereafter the judgment shall sit. In the book of 2 Thessalonians, Paul makes this more palatable. It reads, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come," which is speaking of Christ's second coming, "except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." So this power desires worship. Hence, Paul counsels us to be not deceived, for he, the papacy, will seek to change times and laws, thinking that he is God, in an attempt to receive worship. He also restricts economic power, that none may buy and sell, only those who receive his mark, sign, or standard. And this mark is received in the hand or the forehead. And it is by this mark that the papacy receives worship. The book of Exodus reads, "And it shall be for a sign unto thee upon thy hand, and for a memorial between thine eyes, that the Lord's law might be in thy mouth. For it shall be a token unto thy hands, and for frontlets between thine eyes, or in thy forehead." The book of Deuteronomy reads, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes, or on thy forehead." Again it reads, "Therefore ye shall lay up these words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign unto thy hands, that they might be as frontlets between your eyes." So the Bible shows us that God's law is to be binded on our hands and in our foreheads. Likewise, the papacy, wherein Daniel says that he seeks to change times and laws, also has a law that the world will receive by force in their hand and in their foreheads. The book of Exodus reads, "Speak thou unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign, mark, or standard between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that do sanctify you. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed." Again, Ezekiel reads, "And hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am the Lord your God." So God's sign, mark, or standard is his 7th-day Sabbath. Hence, we must conclude that the papacy's mark, sign, or standard is a false Sabbath day of worship, which he sets up and forces the world to worship him. Therefore, the book of Daniel says that he changes time and laws. The book of Revelation states that he causeth all to receive his mark, and they that dwell on the earth shall worship him. And Paul states, speaking of the papacy, he exalts himself above God, or that is worship, showing himself that he is God. Again, Daniel chapter 7 verse 25 says that the papacy speaks great words against the Most High. So in no form, way, or fashion does the papacy seek to hide them changing the Sabbath to Sunday. And there are many Catholic statements that affirm this view. One such letter reads, "Of course the Catholic Church claimed the change from Saturday to Sunday was her act. It could not have been otherwise. On none of those days would have dreamed of doing anything in matters spiritual or religious without her, and the act is a mark of her ecclesiastical power and authority in religious matters." Again we read, "Sunday is our mark of authority. The Church is above the Bible, and this transfer of the Sabbath observance from Saturday to Sunday is proof of that fact." So a time is coming where the man of sin will implement a mandatory Sunday law where all must worship against the dictates of their conscience. If they don't, they will not be able to buy or sell. The question is, where do you stand?